You're about to watch my conversation with Jonathan Gomez. John is the founder of Deridex. Deridex is an on-chain derivatives platform building on Algorand. Derivatives are an exciting way to hedge your bets and leverage your positions. Of course, they are risky. However, the derivatives market is estimated at a multi-trillion-dollar market. So it's a gigantic market. Hedge funds love derivatives. Institutional investors love derivatives. I personally love derivatives, and I loved this conversation I had with Jonathan Gomez, and I hope you do too. If you like the content, consider subscribing to the channel, smash that thumbs up button, and comment down below with your favorite part of the episode. Now with all that out of the way, enjoy my conversation with Jonathan Gomez. Today we have with us Jonathan Gomez, the founder of Deridex, a on-chain derivatives platform building on Algorand. Welcome to the show, John.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure. So could we start off with just a quick intro on what Deridex is and what inspired you to create it?
Really, what got me into Deridex, or I guess doing trading in general. I've been doing trading since I was a kid. Always been in trading on stocks and on options and all that. I ran a algorithmic trading platform called Quant Sigma. We were doing that for a couple of years, so we've been involved with that space and all the fintech worlds. When that started to kind of die down, I started to get into crypto, and that's kind of when I was thinking, we could probably mesh the two. I started getting into smart contracts. I found Algorand and how easy it was to develop on there, so that's kind of where Segue came in. And we started to build on that. It came up relatively quickly. We were able to get something functional with the help of the community and other Algorand devs. And it's been a pretty smooth process.
Awesome. And what led the journey to Algorand? I mean, there's all sorts of different L1s out there that you could have chose to build the product on. So why did you end up on choosing Algorand?
We chose Algorand mainly because of the speed and how cheap it was for fees. Especially for on-chain trading applications, you're going to have people going in and out of positions constantly. You want that to be fast, and you don't want it to be too expensive. So it makes the most sense. It's kind of like the zero fee in equities, really. So
yeah, it makes sense. So from a user's perspective, the testnet is currently live, but the mainnet's probably maybe a couple months away or so. But from a user's perspective, how does it work? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that probably trade options, but don't really fully understand it at all. But could you just, maybe do a quick little, background on how it would work from an end user? They go to Deridex, and then what do they do from there?
Yeah. So basically, yeah, it's taking a leverage bet against the underlying asset, calls or puts. You pay the premium, which is the volatility on top of the underlying asset where you expect the price to be. So, for example, if you open up a call and let's say algo is at 35 cents. The premium might be, let's say, for 30 days, 5-6%, right? You're basically betting that Algorand is going to go up that much or more in that time. And if it does, then you're going to be in the money and you'll get the profit. If not, then you'll just lose the premium. There's no way to lose more than what you initially put in.
I think there's just one derivatives exchange on Algorand currently, which is only a couple weeks old, so it's still a relatively new idea to the Algorand ecosystem, at least, not the crypto ecosystem at large. What benefits will on-chain derivatives trading bring to a young ecosystem like Algorand?
I mean, I think it's important to have that kind of stuff in general, right? I mean, if you see all the other successful chains, I mean, derivatives are a pretty big part of them, and especially building it on Algorand, having the speed and how cheap it is, it's going to be pretty important, right? You're going to be able to, let's basically lend on AlgoFi, then open up a leverage position on Algo. With what we're doing as well, when you're selling options, we're providing an asset that's kind of like a theta selling strategy or selling volatility. So you could position yourself in a way where the price of algo actually doesn't affect you, and you're just benefiting off the volatility of algo itself. So there's a couple of interesting things to do. For the average person, I think a lot of people are just going to take the leverage bets, but there's going to be a lot of opportunity to do more like hedged positions and a little bit more interesting yield strategies.
Yeah, I think you're right about the likelihood that retail will likely be using just more of the leveraged bet aspect of it. But it is true that institutional investors, including hedge funds, I mean, it's in the name. They want to hedge their bets. Uh, and derivatives trading is an absolutely perfect way to do that. You can hedge 5% of your portfolio with a nice short position or a long position, or some other kind of derivatives trade. So I agree with you that I think it's a very important step in the ecosystem because as I just mentioned, institutions love derivatives trading. So the more we can have on chain, the more exciting this space could be.
Right.
You alluded to it a little bit before, and Deridex is going to have more options. It's funny to use the word options, but more derivatives trading than just options contracts. Could you explain the difference between options contracts, perpetual swaps, and the other types of derivatives available on Deridex?
Yeah. So options is, I think, probably the thing that most people are used to, especially with the dawn of Robinhood and basically giving everyone the tools of their own destruction. So options are going to be pretty straightforward. Again, mind you, with a little bit of the difference because it's on chain and the concessions we had to make there. But what we're also doing is perpetuals. So perpetuals is kind of like futures in traditional markets. It's more of a direct leverage position, balancing the longs and shorts. We're also going to be adding ASA lending or shorting, what people call it. So currently in all the lending markets we have now, it's really just the main assets. What we're doing is kind of coming up with a way to have these kind of small, what we're calling ASA lending vaults. It's kind of, so you provide a collateral asset, so it'd probably be like stable or USDC. And then it's kind of, that's what's used as collateral to borrow against, let's say, like a DFly or something. And then on the other side, you have people who want to get yield from these assets, and they can put them up to the supply pool and earn interest on that from the borrowers. So that's going to be kind of an interesting way to expand the current lending space to not just include the main ASAs.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think currently there's 3 lending platforms, but only 2 of them support at least a couple ASAs, but they're all the main ones. It's goBTC, goETH, and what have you. Folks Finance did recently introduce Planets, which Planet Watch token, which I do think actually kind of hurt the token a lot. I think a lot of people have been shorting it because it's been the only ASA that they can short. But that's beside the point. I do think it's the ecosystem is really, really excited to be able to have access to shorting and longing a lot more of these tokens than just the highest liquidity ones. But could you actually speak to some of the difficulty in performing some of these derivatives trading on illiquid ASAs?
Yeah, so that's actually going to be the biggest issue. So what we're doing with the ASA lending is that we're tying these vaults to AMM pools. So what we're going to be doing on their site is actually showing how much liquidity is tied to this individual pool or into this individual vault. So what you can actually have is a scenario where, let's say you'll have an Algo USDC. You can have multiple lending pools or ASA vaults for this because there's different AMM pools. So initially we're going to be supporting the AlgoFi ones, but we'll eventually be moving to the other AMMs as well as currently waiting on Teal 6 contracts to be updated for all these pools, or actually Teal 7 is when they're making the ability to call older contracts. So when that's out, we'll be able to expand some more pools.
Awesome. So I'd imagine the ASAs that would be available are the ones that have liquidity on AlgoFi at first, right?
Yeah. So I mean, in reality, as long as there's a pool that exists, you can make a vault. Obviously, since that's where the price is being derived from, you would want to stay away from the super liquid ones. So they'll be
Awesome.
you'll be able to sort them by liquidity, basically. And as Algorand grows, it'll get better. Initially, yeah, and there might be not that many pools that are that liquid, but we're establishing the foundation for that as Algorand grows.
Now, on the website, we spoke about a little bit. It mentions the pooled liquidity and how that helps reduce large bid-ask spreads. Could you speak a little bit to how that works and the importance of it?
Yeah. So in traditional options, you're going to have what they call an options chain. So you'll have all these different strike prices, and you're going to have bid and asks on each one. What that ends up being in reality is you're going to have a lot. You're not going to have as many as participants as you would for, let's say, just a single main pool. So what they kind of solved with that in the AMMs for swapping is you have the automatic market maker doing the swaps for you and establishing the price. So we're doing something similar with the options, where we're basically using an option as a premium estimation formula, and then that's what's establishing the price. So then that's what you do when you create the option. It estimates what the price is, and we'll be able to show the historic volatility that it's using as well. So that ideally, you'd want to do is buy these calls and puts when there's low volatility, and hope that the volatility exceeds past that. And that actually works with the other side too, right? If you're actually adding collateral to these pools, you want the volatility to be high because people are going to be paying extra to open these positions, so you'll be actually getting more yield.
So what is TNR? If I pull up this right here, you'll see you've got algo over here, we've got TNR, and then C algo TNR, which I imagine is call, and these are puts over here. Could you explain what TNR is and what it does?
So TNR is kind of a joke coin. So that's kind of the Testnet currency that we're using to replace what would be stable or USDC in the Mainnet. It stands for Testnet rewards. It's kind of a jab at the hordes of people asking for Testnet rewards.
Yeah, no, makes sense. I was looking at it and I was like, I don't know, is there a meaning to this, or is this just a testnet coin?
It's a meme.
Makes sense. I had a feeling because of the T, I was like, it's probably just a testnet coin, but I do have to ask. But actually, speaking of Testnet, Testnet's currently available. It's live to try if anyone wants to go out right now and try it. It's testnet.deridex.org. How is the testnet going? And according to the roadmap, it's mainnet set for sometime Q3. Or do you think you're on target for that Q3 mainnet launch?
We're still waiting on finalizing the funding. We might not make Q3. We'll definitely try to make early Q4. But testnet's been going well. We've been getting the feedback we need. We're actually overhauling the UI completely and taking into account all the feedback that we got during testnet. So when we relaunch for mainnet, it should be a lot better.
Hey, that's exactly what testnet is for. Take some of that feedback and turn it into the product everyone wants. Let's see. What functionality will be available on once you launch the mainnet? Because on the roadmap, it's sort of seems like released in tiers, like all the different functionalities. So what would be available once the product launches?
Yeah, so we're going to be launching mainnet with options on Algo, BTC, and ETH, and we'll be launching with the ASA Vaults as well. So that should be releasing both together. We're going to be launching the ASA Vaults on Testnet shortly after we do the overhaul in the UI as well, so people can try that out.
And now the ASA Vaults is just basically any ASA that's available on the at least AlgoFi DEX to start. But what other assets will be available to trade outside of the vaults?
Yeah, so it's being designed as a semi-permissionless system. So as long as the pool exists, it can be added. So it can be DFly, it could be ChoiceCoin, it could be anything. Anything that's on an AMM, it can be added. Outside
of the roadmap that users can go and look at currently, what's the long-term vision for Deridex? If you could look out maybe a year or two down the line. I know it's sometimes hard to do that because it's you're laser focused on the next steps. But if you could look out at the long-term vision for the project, what would that be?
Yeah, we're definitely trying to be the go-to premium source for derivatives trading, and not even so much derivatives trading, just trading in general, right? Trying to expand what already exists in the ecosystem. There's already a lot of lending and AMM pools, right? So I think that much is covered, but kind of building on top of that is what we're trying to do. And as kind of I've predicted, there's a lot of people trying to run into that scene as well. So there's going to be a huge wave of derivatives coming. Yeah, I think that's the next wave of things to down the pipeline in the ecosystem. Deridex plans to launch a governance token. Could you elaborate a little bit on what your vision for Deridex governance would look like, and what needs to happen before the token launch? That much hasn't really been ironed out too much. It's roughly going to go the same style that AlgoFi's governance token is. It's just going to be basically managing the pool or managing the parameters in all the contracts that we're launching, right? So people can adjust those. And really, I think it'd be too early to say at this point, because the governance token won't be until we're done with everything, and that won't be till probably mid-end of next year.
Perfect, and I appreciate that. There's a lot of projects that kind of go the opposite route with a launch a token.
Yeah, we're trying to do project first, token later.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fantastic way to do it, and I think it builds a lot of trust in the product too, because it doesn't, there's a lot of projects out there where the idea might be good, the team looks like it's really good, but then they launch the token a year ahead of time. It's like, okay, well, this just seems like a cash grab now. It's like you start to lose faith that the product will even be good if it does come out down the line. You know what I mean? So this is certainly the preferred way to tackle that, in my opinion, at least. Yeah, is there anything else that I haven't brought up or asked that you want to bring attention to my audience, whether it be about the roadmap or the project itself or anything else you might be working on?
I mean, really, we're just keeping our head down. We're working through it. I think we've been a little bit quiet as of late. There's a lot of things up in the air as far as funding and whatnot, but we're still working through things. So hopefully Mainnet soon, right? That's what I keep telling people.
Where can my audience go to learn more about Deridex? I know I mentioned that they can go to testnet.deridex.org to try the testnet, but take this time to whether plug your Twitter or plug your websites or whatever, just to let my audience know where they can go to learn more.
Yeah, I mean, so we have our Twitter, Deridex HQ, and on there you can find the link to our Discord as well, which is really where I'm at the most.
And, big testnet rewards. Will people be getting testnet rewards for trying?
We don't know yet. I choose to stay silent on that one.
That's fair. I had to ask, though. I did have to ask. Awesome. Well, honestly, this wraps up most of the questions I had. So unless you have anything else that you'd want to add to the discussion, feel free to do so now. But if not, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and talk to us about Deridex. And I'd be happy to have you on as you get closer to Mainnet and really do this again sometime.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me.
All right, that was a fantastic discussion with John. We learned a lot about his project Deridex. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. If you did, let me know down in the comments below what your favorite part was and what you're looking forward to most from Deridex. If you haven't done so already, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and check out the description down below for ways that you can support the channel, including links to get $25 towards your next investment in real estate on the Algorand blockchain, including links to my newsletter and other affiliate links that will help the show. Also, if you haven't done so yet, head on over to the Next Block's YouTube page. Subscribe to our new channel. This is our new weekly show with David over at Crypto4Change, C-Will over at the Passive Income Network, and myself. We started it as a brand new entity, so go on over to the Next Block, subscribe to the channel, and check out the description down below on either this video or any of the videos over there for ways that you can help get us to Dubai. Algorand's annual Decipher conference is in Dubai, and we want to bring you on-the-ground coverage. If you want to see that happen, check out the description down below for ways to donate. I appreciate you watching to the end of this video, and we will catch you in the next one. Thanks.